Hey, what's up? It's your girl Tamira.
And it's Ray Daniels.
The Great.
The Great. I appreciate that.
Yeah. Can't forget that part. Okay, so right now, we'll start with when you hear the words Family Feud, not the TV show, like family beef, what is the first thing that comes to your mind?
Selfishness. Somebody's selfish. For family to beef, somebody has to be selfish.
Okay, so right now, Little Boosie and his brother are beefing.
Okay.
So his brother / his former artist is currently in court. Boosie's suing the artist and his manager for saying that they
Are you talking about the blue situation?
the young blue
Okay, yeah. Okay, cool.
claims that they owe him money because they parted ways legally. Boosie says they would have been more successful if they would have stayed with him.
That's a matter of opinion. What's the question? I want to know.
My question is, what role does a label play in ensuring the success of an artist?
Oh my God, that's such a good question. I say this. A label can do the same exact thing, spend the same exact money, give the same exact opportunities to 10 different artists. And they will get 10 different results. So does that say more about the artist or does that say more about the label? I'm asking you. You're a journalist. I'm asking you.
I do the interview. I don't get interviewed. But
I can't ask you.
I will say, I think that it is a big representation, especially if it's the same exact formula. So if we all did 2 + 2 + 2 = 4, then it's not necessarily math, but if everybody had the same resources. So I'll give you an example. When I was in college, I was studying for my early childhood education.
Okay.
They gave us all an egg that we had to throw off a balcony.
Okay.
And each of us got different tools though. So it was like public schools only get straws and maybe a rubber band.
Okay.
Catholic schools will get straws, cotton balls, rubber bands, and maybe 3 rubber bands instead of the 1 rubber band that public schools got. But then like white private schools get a whole bag of cotton, a whole bag of straws, a bunch of rubber bands, so different resources going to different places. But I was a public school and my egg didn't crack. And then the Catholic school ones with all the tissue, theirs cracked. The point of the matter is people do use their resources differently. You could be given little resources and be super successful, or you could have all the resources and still not be successful. So it really depends on the person. So I think that I agree with you on that. Like, it's definitely using what you got to get where you want to be type of thing. It's not like one formula fits all.
Okay. So, yeah, that's what I'm saying. So, now you answered the question. You just gave me a very amazing soliloquy. But the question is it the label or is it the artist?
Well,
If you could do the same thing for 10 different artists and get 10 different results, how are you blaming the label? Your result is based on you.
Yeah, I agree with you. So
Exactly.
It's really,
So it's really not the label's fault. The label did what they did, the same thing they did for everything else. What worked for you didn't work for them. It's like a relationship. I might do something for you and you might not like it as my girlfriend, but I might do it for her and she might love it. And that's how the relationship works.
Braxton loves that example.
Boom.
But my question would be, why do artists tend to blame the label for them not being successful?
Because they have a lack of knowledge and no one wants to say it's themselves. You know what? If you look at the relationship between artists and labels, it's very interesting. It's like the relationship between men and women, right? I saw something that was very true. They said that when a man cheats, he was wrong. Like he's a cheater, right? You agree with that, right?
Yes.
But when a woman cheats, a man pushed her to cheat. So it's almost like when you do it, it's like, that's not my fault. And I think that's how artists treat labels. Every artist, there's some artists that love their label, and there's some artists that hate their label. It's the same label. So at some point, I just think artists don't like to blame themselves for their lack. It's almost like saying that it was me means that it was me that the people don't like. Saying that it was the label means if I get someone else to do it, but it's kind of true. Maybe the next person might do it right. Cameron was bigger with Rockefeller than he was with Epic. It's just the truth. So I don't know.
But that's what I was going to say. Sometimes it's not about necessarily what you give me, but how you make me feel. So like a label might give everybody $2 million and say, hey, do something with it. But a label might have massaged their relationships with me a little bit more, made me as an artist feel like I was more important than the other ones who got $2 million too. So I think that feeding positivity and supporting your artists outside of like just giving them money also plays a big
No.
factor.
But that's what I'm saying. It's not just money. It's support. It's a product manager. You got the same product manager, the same A&R, the same digital marketing person, and the same PR. But you'll get different results than the last guy. It's just the game. Here's the bottom line. And some artists have to accept that sometimes it's just not your time. I think that Boosie and Blue are both right. I think that if Boosie was with Blue, he would probably be bigger now. And the reason why I think Blue is right is because it's Blue's time now. That's why it works. So it's kind of like they're both right, but they're on opposite sides. So it's like, there it is.
Okay, so that actually brings me to one of my questions. So just speaking of now's the time, right? So
Okay.
why do people, okay, so a question that was faced was like Drake and OVO, right? How come Drake gets to be this big superstar, come out with his own label, but nobody under him has been as successful as him?
Because artists get lazy according to the situation they're in. I've said it and I'll say it again. The artists that are signed to Drake are probably waiting on Drake, right? Or waiting on someone from Drake's label to do something. And the artists that Drake is giving other cosigns to that's not signed to him are artists that are moving. So it's kind of like your kids are in the house saying, Daddy, take us to the store. Daddy, take us to the store. And you're like, oh, okay, cool. But you got these other kids that are riding their bike, riding their skateboard, doing everything. And it just works better that way because they're doing something. So my thing is that I just think it's how the artist looks at the situation. Like, bro, life is like cars, man. Some people get, they working with the hand they were dealt with, and sometimes it works and sometimes it don't. But what I can say is that if you get up your ass and work, you have a way better chance. Like, look at Meek Mill. Meek Mill, he was signed to Ross. He's way bigger now. Ross gave him an opportunity, but he worked. That's why he's so big. Drake was signed to Wayne. He worked. That's why he's so big. It was a whole lot of other artists signed to Young Money that aren't nowhere near as big as Drake or Nicki. But Drake and Nicki, they made the better songs. And they worked harder, and that's why I worked.
I'm laughing because that was one of my questions.
Okay.
Meek Mill, Dreamchasers, and all that stuff. So I was gonna say, what's the difference between Young Money and Dreamchasers? Because Young Money had a bunch of artists that kind of
Dreamchasers or MMG?
we could go with MMG. That's the bigger label.
Well, MMG is who Meek Mill signed to.
Yeah.
Dreamchasers
So
was
we'll
his
go.
label. Okay, cool.
So like, what's the difference between Young Money and MMG? Because they had several successful artists come out of Young Money.
And MMG did too. They had Wale and Meek.
That's two.
Young Money had Drake and Wayne.
And Nicki.
No, sorry. They had Drake and Nicki. Wayne was on Cash Money.
Okay, and then, well, it depends on what because wasn't Tyga and all them?
Yeah, but Tyga blew up when he left Young Money. It was his time. The thing that no one wants to, this is the hardest part about what we do. No one wants to accept that it just might not be your time. Your time might be tomorrow. It just might not be your time. And instead of complaining about how it's not going your way, just stay on the path. And when your moment hit, shit, everything works. Drake was putting out music before he got to Wayne. It wasn't his time. But he was constantly trying to figure out what to do right or wrong. So that's what it is.
So constantly just doing what works in that moment, trying to figure out what you're doing right, what you're doing wrong, and applying it. What is the proper way to do business with family?
The proper way to do business with family. I would just say there's no proper way to do business with family. I mean, like, I think every family is different, and you just got to do what works for you, honestly. Like, I do family business, and I've been good at it. Sometimes I've been bad at it sometimes. But for me, as long as the family understands that this is business. So if I tell you, Tamira, I don't like what you're doing right now, don't take it back to, you've been treating me like that since I was a damn little girl. It's business right now. So I think that's the hard part. The hard part about doing family business is removing emotion. That's what I would say. Remove emotion. If you want to do family business, first thing you got to do is remove the emotion.
Okay, so Coy Leray and her father Benzino have been beefing publicly for a while about. It really started in her debut album, or her debut song, "No More Parties in LA," when she was saying, "My daddy let me down, but I promise you I won't let up. I'ma say fuck. I want to say fuck that man, but that shit won't make me better." he responded by saying, girl, you grew up in a mansion with everything you needed. Like, how did I not raise you properly? How did I let you down? So the question to that is, when trying to raise kids and help them chase their dreams and be successful, what role should parents play? And is there such thing as too much or not enough?
It goes back to the kids. I'm pretty sure there were other fathers out there like Michael Jackson, like Joe Jackson, and like Mr. Williams, the Williams sisters' father, LeVar Ball. But sometimes your kids, no one just likes to accept that you might not have been good enough. I think we'll accept anything except for I wasn't good enough. And to me, it's like, I think saying I'm not good enough is a great thing, because I can say right now I'm not good enough for you, but that means that I either at that very moment can say I'm fine with that, or at that very moment I can say, but I'm gonna work harder and harder and harder to be good enough. And to me, that's where the get rich or die trying mentality comes from. Like, it's like you only stop when you die trying. You know, outside of that, you only stop when you die. Outside of that, just keep going, pushing. You know, I just think it's all timing. I think it's timing. Timing is everything. We don't like to acknowledge how timing is, because everybody wants to feel like their time is now or their time is coming, but nobody wants to feel like their time has passed. Oh, no one wants to feel that.
It has been?
What? No one wants to feel that. So yeah, there it is.
If your kids wanted to come in the music industry, what advice would you give them?
If my kids want to come in the music industry, the advice I would give them is start as early as possible. If you want to be in the music business, start at 14. Don't say, when I'm 18, I'm going to try. No, you just lost 4 years of wanting to do something, and now you're going to want to do it. You might not like it. You might not like it. Now you're 19, and you could have figured out you didn't like it when you was 15, and then you could have did something else at 16, and then something else at 17, and then 18. So for me, it's like, if my kids tell me they want to be anything, I say start today.
Give me an example of a family in the business that's doing it right.
Family in the business that's doing it right. It's a lot of families, I know. The first one that popped in my head is executives, Ryan, Damian, and Raina, the Press family. Ryan Press is president over Warner Chappell. Raina works at Warner. She used to be my assistant, actually, at Warner. And Damian is EVP over at Republic. Here's the crazy part. Their father is one of the Temptations.
Oh.
But they behave themselves like they just are like standing on their own. Raina never told me she was Ryan's sister. She was just working. And then I found out she was Ryan's sister from somebody else. Like, so I would say them, you know.
The first family to me was the Wayne's family.
Well, I'm talking about the music business. See, I'm also talking about, like, I got to look at like people behind it. I mean, if you want to look in front of the camera, you could look at somebody like Kendrick and Baby Keem are cousins. Like, Baby Keem is huge. Like, they understand, like, yeah, I'm his cousin, but I got to stand on my own. I think that's what it really is. Understanding you got to stand on your own.
Okay. And then I'll quote. No. I'm going to do a Ray Daniels quote real quick and just explain it to me. It's a simple one. It's not bad.
I love Tamira. By the way, she is like the most amazing partner I could ask for.
Thank you.
She's amazing. Go ahead.
Okay. All you need is vision, balls, and creativity.
Yep.
Explain it.
Vision means knowing where you want to go. Balls means the courage to get there. And creativity means knowing that you have to do something different every time to try. So if you got vision, balls, and some creativity, you'll be fine. But if you got to have those three though, because you got vision and creativity. But if you ain't got the balls to step off the porch and go look stupid, you're gonna fail. So yeah, that's what I meant.
How do you find your focus or even understand what it is, or your vision? Excuse me.
That's crazy. I never really had vision. I just had balls and creativity. Like, I'm just now developing my vision right now, being honest. Like, I never was like a vision guy. Like, I never wanted to be Puff, Baby, and none of them. I didn't even think that was possible for me. I just wanted to like get in the game. And I guess I'm figuring out that vision right now. So yeah, but look, I had those two. If you got balls and creativity, you can get really far.
Got a little something.
Yeah.
All right. And then just to close off, give me your top 5 family collabs of all times? It could be music, movie, writing, anything.
I can't say it in order, but I could say in my head, I'm gonna say House Party. That was done by the Hewlin brothers. See how I know people don't know the Hewlin brothers, their House Party. They also did Boomerang and The Great White Hype. Yeah. I think it's Warrington and Reggie Hewlin, I think. So the Hewlin brothers, Living Color was a Wayne's family thing, but they also did I'm Gonna Get You Sucker was classic. Just because I can't think of no more, I'm gonna say the Clips, Pusha, and Malice. They were hard.
Got 2 more spots.
I'm gonna say Kendrick and Keem, because I already mentioned them. They're incredible family collaboration. And the last one I'm gonna say is Rock City.
Oh, that was a good one.
Boom.
I was waiting for Michael and Janet, but okay.
I couldn't think. When you that's the best part about being put on the spot. Like when I don't have to be prepared, I can't write it down and figure out. But the Jackson family is the GOATs of all time. Period.
There we go.
Let's get it.